Here we are. It is another Sunday in September. And just another Sunday in September 2018. I think it's 2018. It's after a while. Counting years, it just doesn't make much sense. We are at what was supposed to be Moonlit Crane Zendo, but it's just a small room in an old farmhouse. The foundations are crumbling. The beam, they're rotting in places. The floors are not level anymore. It's just an old farmhouse, but this little room here, it is sufficient. It is a good place to practice for a handful of people who come here. So we have a kind of rustic practice here. It is very simple. It is very ordinary. We take profound things, extraordinary things, and we make them simple and accessible and present. This is a kind of rustic practice here. There's nothing very special going on. The first thing to understand about meditation practice is it's like a scent of the wind. A scent of the wind, a pristine and clear, pure wind. And the wind, it has no scent. If you can smell something, it's whatever is carried on the wind, some fragrance. Maybe you smell wood smoke or fragrance of flowers in the garden. This is what's carried on the wind. Meditation, it's like a scent of the wind itself. The pure, pristine wind. So what does it mean? Well, we have likes, dislikes, our preferences, opinions, attachments. This is what is carried on the wind. This is like wood smoke or garden, flowers in the garden. But in meditation, you should think of it as a scent of the wind itself. A pristine, pure wind. You shouldn't be confused by the things which are passing through the mind. So we are not burdened by the things which are passing through the mind. We are not burdened by our likes and our dislikes. So in meditation you want to feel the scent of the wind. And when we look out, maybe at the sky, we see that the cloud is beyond our understanding. There's something beyond our understanding. And when we look at a tree, we see that this tree is also beyond our understanding. And when we look at the people, we look at each other, we see that the people too are beyond our understanding. This is the way to approach reality, because conceptual understanding, a concept of a cloud or a tree or a human being, it can never fully encompass the totality of what a cloud is, of what a human being is, of what you are. All these things which are carried on the wind cannot encompass the totality, the pristine quality of the wind itself, which has no beginning and no end. So looking at a cloud, and there is a cloud, I can see a cloud in the sky. It is beyond my understanding. Completely beyond my understanding. But luckily, there is a space beyond our understanding that we can surrender to, that we can release ourselves into, if you will. Which can pacify all this understanding and not understanding. It's really just another expression of our restlessness. It's just another expression of our fears. It is so wonderful to say, this cloud is beyond my understanding. Already you can feel something of that vast quality of our lives. This is something to appreciate about our meditation practice, is to go beyond such conceptual realities as clouds, trees, human beings, self, non-self, birth, death, existence, non-existence, and so on. And I think there are, roughly speaking, two kinds of Zen, maybe two kinds of teachers, two kinds of men. I'm not sure. Maybe it might be a little bit different for women, maybe not. But what I see is, I guess you can call it a man in the castle and a man in the gallows. And this is two different kinds of practice. I don't know, for women maybe you can say every girl wants to be a princess. And then also there is a mother. It's a different kind of thing. I'll explain what I mean. What is difference? The difference is that there is a kind of practice where you try to enrich yourself with practice. When people come to spiritual practice, they're generally not really satisfied with what is going on in their lives, and the approach is, I want to redecorate my space in a way. I want to refurbish my space, or I want to further enrich my space. And this is, you can call it a man in the castle. building up walls, building up tower higher and higher, building this beautiful landscaping the environment. And it is a basic practice of enriching your space and accumulating even the best of things, the really good things, the healthy things, the peaceful things, the generous things, the best of things. But the idea is still you are enriching yourself in a way through the practice. Or our approach to practice is that of acquiring something, acquiring understanding, acquiring wisdom, acquiring good qualities. And you cannot really criticize this. But it is at some fundamental level different than the practice of a man in a gallows. I mean, the judgment has been passed. There's no, all appeals have been exhausted. There's nothing left to hope for. In a sense, you're free from all hope and fear. It is a basic practice of where we are always letting go of something. You can say that the success of a man in the castle is how much he has managed to enrich his environment. And you can say that the failure of the man in gallows is what he has failed to let go of. It's a fundamentally different way of approaching practice. Everything is stripped away from you. Whether you want it or not, you can fight tooth and nail, but it's stripped away from you. The sky above your head is stripped away from you. The earth beneath your feet is stripped away from you. The shadow, your own shadow, is stripped away from you. This is a practice of a man in the gallows. But there's a kind of freedom that comes with that. There's nothing, you cannot guard yourself, you cannot protect yourself anymore, you cannot shield. There's nothing to shield anymore. I think our approach to practice kind of follows those patterns. And perhaps teachers are different too. Maybe sometimes a teacher is a man in the castle and a teacher is a man in the gallows. And maybe for women, every girl wants to be a princess, but when you become a mother, it's not hard for you to let go of your life for your child. It's a very different mindset. Very different mindset. For women, I cannot really speak with any authority about that. But from the Buddhist perspective, and this is rather interesting now, the path is defined to start as accumulation. And we accumulate all the good qualities. We accumulate understanding. We accumulate the beauty of the practice. It's called accumulate. First there comes accumulation of merit. And then we have accumulated the right conditions. We have generated the right conditions in our lives. Now we are ready to accumulate wisdom. And it's a kind of, you think, okay, this is very practical, this is very good. But in a way it's terrifying. Because if you think about this analogy that I have given you, we start as a man in the castle, and you end up as a man in the gallows. All these beautiful things that we accumulate, we have to let them go at some point. We work so hard to accumulate profoundness in our lives, only for it to be taken away from us. And in that sense, it's a very, very terrifying thing. But it's only terrifying for a man in the castle. For the man in gallows, it's just life. It's just how it is. But this is the idea, being very precise, being very careful how we structure our environment. We have to be very wise and skillful. Because to give rise to wisdom, it's not a trivial thing. But then we have to do this difficult practice of letting go, and we should be able to say, a cloud in the sky, it is completely beyond my conception, completely beyond my understanding. And so going back to what I said, this little room, this little Zendo, this very rustic practice, this very ordinary practice, and there are vast, vast dimensions in this. And yet it is something that is so totally accessible to us. We are here. Don't say it is not accessible. Don't say it is something remote and far away. You are here. Right? This is what it is. It's a matter of appreciation or not. There's nothing particularly special about it. Your lives are ordinary and extraordinary at the very same time. In the midst of confusion, that scent that is carried on the wind is right there. The pristine. It's just that we focus always on the scent. We miss the quality, the infinite quality of our own lives, of your own thoughts, of your emotions. Because we are so focused only on what is carried on the wind. So when you sit in meditation, you should say to yourself, my meditation will be like a scent of a pristine wind. No beginning, no end. No anything to get particularly fascinated with. And then we can let go of anything. And it is not so very, very difficult. Okay, we'll recite the 4 great vows now.